The Burrell House and Farm, site registration number 33LN283, was the home of 5 generations of Burrells from 1820 to 2001. The farmstead is located at 2792 East River Road on the west side near the confluence of French Creek and the Black River in Sheffield Village, Lorain County, Ohio. Captain Jabez Burrell, 1766 to 1833, with his wife and 8 children, removed from Sheffield, Berkshire County, Massachusetts, and landed at the mouth of French Creek on August 11, 1816. In the 1820s, Burrell opened a clay quarry on Sugar Creek that flows into French Creek on his 300-acre property to fashion the Federal-style red brick farmhouse. Prehistoric archaeological investigations were conducted at the farmstead in 2008. Historic archaeological investigations were conducted in 2012 and 2014. This presentation deals only with the 2012 and 2014 excavations. This project was possible with cooperation and support by Firelands Archaeology, the Archaeology Department of the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, the Sheffield Village Historical Society, and the Lorain County Metro Parks. The house is one of the oldest brick houses in Lorain County, completed about 1820. The main section of the house is a 2-story late Federal-style structure that faces the road east, connected with a rear section, also of brick, with an open screened-in porch facing west. It includes a wood frame of both hand-hewn and sawed hardwood lumber of oak and black walnut species. The floor joists and major supporting beams are halves of trees. These are flattened on the top and the bottom with an axe to properly receive the hardwood flooring. The timber wood frame of the structure is largely hidden behind the brick walls. The foundation is of hand-cut sandstone blocks from local outcroppings. Local cobblestones, river rock, and brick also comprise portions of the foundation. The main exterior walls are generally 3 layers thick. Every so often a brick is turned inward to tie into the next, thus adjoining the wall structures. These maps show the location of the Burrell farmstead operated by the Lorain County Metro Parks as a museum during special events. 3 Burrell brothers came over from Sheffield, England in the early 1800s. One went back to England, one froze to death, and the third became the ancestor of the Burrells in Sheffield, Ohio. This slide shows photographs of Robbins Burrell, born 1799, died 1877, and his brother Jabez Lyman Burrell, born 1806 and died 1900. This slide shows a partial listing of descendants of Captain Jabez Burrell and Mary Polly Burrell family related to the occupation of the house. On January 29, 1818, Captains Jabez Burrell and John Day of Sheffield purchased General Richard's Heart, large tract of land designated as Township 7 of Range 17 in the Western Reserve. The purchase price was $34,159.50. They paid General Hart $2,000 in hand and obtained from him a mortgage for the $32,159.50 to secure the balance of the purchase price. Their plan was to select lots for themselves and to sell the remaining lots to pay off the mortgage. Burrell, his wife Mary Robbins Burrell, 8 children, and Solomon Weeks, a young man apprenticed to Burrell, arrived by way of Lake Erie on the schooner Black Snake and ascended the Black River to French Creek on John Reed's ferry scow on August 11, 1818. Burrell selected Lot 65, 200 acres, near the mouth of French Creek, where Wallace originally settled. He initially constructed a log house, possibly utilizing the Wallace structure. About 1820, Burrell built the existing Federal-style red brick farmhouse, believed to be the oldest brick building in Lorain County, Ohio. The bricks of this fine old residence were burned at a kiln on Sugar Creek. The Burrell house contains a central hallway, 15 rooms, wide board floors, hardwood woodwork, and fireplaces kept in excellent condition. Part of the interior of the house was set on fire in 1841 or 1842, but the brick walls were intact and repaired. The interior woodwork of the house dates to the 1840s. Jabez and Mary Burrell occupied the house until 1833. Jabez was appointed postmaster of Sheffield in 1833, shortly before his death later that year. This slide shows the headstones of Captain Jabez Burrell, who died 22 September 1833, and wife Mary Polly Robbins Burrell, who died 26 August 1831. Both are buried in the Garfield Cemetery in Sheffield Village, Ohio. From 1850 until the end of the Civil War in 1865, the farm was a major stop on the Underground Railroad. Robbins Burrell, brother Jabez Burrell, and a cousin started the underground operation that would last 20 years. Runaway slaves were hidden in the grain barns until Robbins Burrell could arrange for captains in Lorain like Aaron Root to hide them on vessels for the trip across Lake Erie to freedom in Canada. Robbins Burrell would take the slaves in a hollow-bottom cart to the Black River at night and would sail down the river to Charleston, now Lorain, Ohio. After 20 miles north into Lake Erie, the slaves were considered free. Slaves ran away to Canada because of a revised fugitive slave law in 1850 that declared citizens were required to assist in the capture of runaway slaves. Here you have the farm structures in ruins: a cheese house, a granary, 2 barns, and a brick and rubble foundation stone dump. In the 1820s, Captain Jabez Burrell built a dam, raceway, and sawmill on the river in partnership with Captain John Day. He used glacial erratic field stones for the foundation as he built a granary and 2 barns from wood planks sawed at the mill. The cheese house in this slide is a wood frame building facing east. The building measures 27 by 18 feet with steep pitched gable roof and wood board and batten siding on the upper level. The basement walls are made of irregular sandstone slabs and split granite boulders held together with wide mortar joints. It is on the National Register of Historic Places, number 76001471, since it is one of a few surviving cheese factories of a large number that made a thriving Ohio industry in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. About 1869, Robbins Burrell constructed the cheese house for commercial production of cheese and butter. Harry Burrell, son of Edward and Rosa Burrell, had interests other than farming that resulted in a subsequent decline in farming operations. His lack of interest was paralleled in the 1880s and 1890s with a gradual decline in cheese and butter production in the country, with large factories having closed by 1913. Here you have the granary ruins. In A, the granary ruins looking southeast, in B, looking south, and in C is a branded brick from the Metropolitan Brick Company that operated 1902 to 1949, then changed its name to Metro Brick, offering a more varied line of products after 1849 until the present day. In this slide, you have the barn number 1 ruins. A and B looking north, C stone-capped well, D clear glass bottle showing a two-part mold seam, and E is the exterior bottle base with embossment. This is barn number 2 ruins with a stone-capped well. Stone and brick dump site on the southwest edge of the bluff top. A branded brick is encased in concrete, showing a diamond-shaped brand. Also present is concrete with iron rebar. This is Edward Burrell on the farm in the late 1800s. The Burrells had about 300 acres of farmland, agriculturally diversified with horses, hogs, dairy cattle, and sheep for wool, grain, and row crops between 1870 and 1898. Also included were orchards, a vineyard, and maple woodlots. This map of the Burrell Farm and related sites shows the Sheffield School District number 1 ruins, indicated by the yellow circle that was in operation circa 1880s and then burned in 1940. The First Congregational Church ruins, indicated by the light blue circle, which operated from 1852 to 1903. And the Pioneer or Day Cemetery, indicated by the dark blue circle, with headstones of dates between 1823 and 1859. Now, this is the Pioneer or Day Cemetery that shows headstones of Captain John Day and 14 family members interred from 1823 to 1859. The Sheffield District number 1 school ruins. A and B show stone foundation and brick looking west. C is a brick pile, and D is an unidentified feature next to the well. The Sheffield District number 1 school ruins. A and B is an unidentified feature to the left and foundation stone in a well depression to the right. C is Sugar Creek looking east, and D, the bottom land north of Sugar Creek also looking east. The First Congregational Church ruins. A is foundation stone, B are clear glass bottles, one with an embossment on the exterior base, C, clear glass container, possibly a kerosene jar, and D, the base of a stoneware container with partial stamped or engraved mark. That's partial inscription reads fire acid ST period. And E and F is the interior base of a stoneware container with that partial stamped engraved mark. Archaeological excavations of the surface and subsurface historical structures began in 2012 in the backyard between the Burrell brick house and the cheese factory. Volunteers did the hard work of excavation under supervision of Dr. Brian Redmond, director, and Brian Scanlon, field supervisor. The test excavations during 2012 attempted to determine the possible location of the underground railway thought to run from the back of the Burrell house to the granary barns. The second goal was to sample subsurface artifacts characteristic of the historic occupation of the property and the use of the house. A 1 by 4 meter test trench oriented north-south was placed between the two structures. The unit was shovel stripped in 10 centimeter increments with the dirt being sifted in 1/4 inch screens. All cultural artifacts were bagged and labeled with provenience data. This continued until sterile subsoil was encountered. A shallow midden was encountered below the sod layer, which extended 25 centimeters below datum from the southwest corner of the unit. A sterile, homogeneous stratum of sandy clay fill occurred at the southern end of the unit at 30 centimeters below datum. No direct evidence of a 19th century underground tunnel was found that might relate to the Underground Railroad between 1850 and 1865. However, a zone of possible fill was identified at the extreme southern end of the test trench. This zone is characterized as homogeneous sediment stratum that was devoid of both artifacts and the tree and plant roots that dominated the remainder of the trench. The origin of this zone is unknown and warrants further investigation. A total of 1,724 cultural artifacts were recovered from the midden. Several diagnostic artifacts were helpful in dating and determining domestic activities and farm operations. The diagnostic artifacts date from the early 19th century to the early 20th century. A. One rim and 6 body shards of caneware, obverse left and reverse right, dipped or slip banded, dark brown or mocha present, but other colors are possible. Bowls and jugs are common, manufactured in Great Britain and the United States, manufacture date 1875 to 1900, popularity date 1830 to 1875. To the right is a sample caneware bowl from HMV 141 Kilmartin House Museum, Argyll, Scotland. In B, there are 4 fragments of brick mortar and cement, again obverse left and reverse right, possible Portland type cement, probably manufactured in the U.S., the manufacture date 1824 to the present day, commercial popularity date 1872 to 1930, and to the right, a sample of weathered brick and mortar for comparison. In A are 4 fragments of clinkers or slag indicating a forge and blacksmith activities were conducted on site at one time. The one unique aspect of artifacts of the test trench indicate that a forge or possible blacksmith shop was part of the complex as indicated by several clinkers, coal, and charcoal or burned wood for fuel. Clinkers are a conglomerate of metal, crushed rock, and dirt fused together in a semi-glass appearance from extreme heat resulting from blacksmithing or forge operations to manufacture or repair farm machinery, wagons, and agricultural implements. In B, you have 9 fragments of black coal, probably anthracite, and in C, you have 7 fragments of charcoal or burned wood. 3 types of forge fuel were used in blacksmithing: charcoal, anthracite coal, and bituminous coal. Locally manufactured in the U.S. from 1768 to the present day, charcoal was the dominant forge fuel until the last quarter of the 19th century when it was superseded by coal. Anthracite, hard coal, was manufactured from 1855 to the present day. Bituminous or soft coal was manufactured from 1875 to the present day. There are mentions of blacksmiths in Pennsylvania using anthracite as early as 1768, but it did not become widely used until 1830 to 1840. By 1855, anthracite had surpassed charcoal, and by 1875, bituminous coal usage exceeded anthracite in iron production. In D, you have 1 piece of black graphite, probably used in a lead pencil. Length is 16.8 millimeters and diameter is 3.5 millimeters. The modern pencil was manufactured from 1795 to the present day. Manufacture of pencils in the U.S. from 1812 to the present day. Mass production of pencils in the U.S. from 1870 to the present day. American colonists imported pencils from Europe until after the American Revolution. Benjamin Franklin advertised pencils for sale in his Pennsylvania Gazette in 1729, and George Washington used a 3-inch pencil when he surveyed the Ohio country in 1762. Pencil lead was perfected as a mix of powdered graphite and clay, invented by Jacques Conté in 1795. And in E, you have 2 complete machine-made steel round flat head wire nails, 35 millimeters in length, 9.6 millimeters diameter, and 31.1 millimeters in diameter of the shaft. Manufacture date is 1806 to the present day. Commercial popularity, 1884 to the present day. Manufactured in the U.S., small wire nails were introduced in France in 1806, including 7 additional patents up to 1825. One of these patents was registered by James White, an American living in Paris, who in 1811 included a machine that could cut, head, and point a nail in one operation. British patents for wire nails did not appear until the 1850s. A is one circular-shaped white 4-hole sew-through in a recessed well ceramic or porcelain button with a concave convex profile, 15.5 millimeters diameter and 4.5 millimeters thickness. The button was manufactured by the Prosser method of highly compressed heat in a button mold. Mold seam present. Ceramic buttons came in all colors and were called Chinas, Little Chinas, and agate buttons. Manufactured in Great Britain, France, and the U.S. Manufacture date 1840 to the mid-1960s. After being turned out of the molds, the buttons were drilled with 2, 4, and 5 sew-on holes by hand in 1840 and by machine in 1850. And B, you have one circular-shaped buff brown bone button with 4 holes sewed through in a recessed well made of animal bone, 17.5 millimeters in diameter and 2.7 millimeters in thickness. Profile is plano-convex. It is handmade, cut and carved for a shirt, blouse, dress, or skirt. Locally made in the U.S., the probable date of manufacture 1800 to 1850. And in C, you have one complete circular-shaped black vulcanized rubber 2-hole sew-through button, 14.0 millimeters diameter and 3.0 millimeters in thickness. The manufacturer's mark is the Novelty Rubber Company, Goodyear's patent of New York City. The Novelty Rubber Company was founded in 1853, incorporated in 1855, and produced buttons until 1886. Charles Goodyear's vulcanization of rubber, that is the process of making rubber hard, in 1849 was patented on May 6, 1851, covering buttons, combs, and other items. However, Goodyear did not make any buttons. His patent expired in 1865. However, the Goodyear's hard rubber patent was extended by Nelson Goodyear in 1865 and did not expire until May 6, 1872. After the patent expired in 1872, the largest manufacturers still put their names on items that they made. Many later Novelty Rubber Company buttons are marked with only Novelty Rubber Company. And in D, you have one miniature white ceramic pot, which is a child's toy dish, height 23 millimeters, shoulder diameter 26 millimeters, and base diameter 19.8 millimeters. No handle, and it's undecorated. One-piece mold, since no mold seam is present. It is unmarked, manufactured in Great Britain and the U.S. The manufacture date 1850 to 1900. Miniatures are reported from historic sites, most identified as child-related toys, with ceramic dolls and tea sets, the most commonly reported items. E, you have 2 expended brass shell cases with head stamps. In one, it is a 22 caliber long rimfire cartridge shell case of a rifle or pistol. The head stamp H is the Winchester Repeating Arms Company that operated from 1866 to 1931 in New Haven, Connecticut. The cartridge was manufactured between 1871 and 1931. The 22 caliber long rimfire round is a combination of the long rifle case and the 22 caliber short bullet. It was listed in the 1871 Great Western Gun Works catalog for the 7-shot standard revolver. The 22 caliber long rifle was not sold until 1887 and was strictly a small game short range cartridge. And in 2 is another 22 caliber, this time short rimfire cartridge shell case for a pistol. The head stamp U.S. is the U.S. Cartridge Company that operated from 1869 to 1918 in Lowell, Massachusetts. The probable date of manufacture is 1869 to 1905, based on replacement of revolvers by auto-loading handguns using rimless ammunition for box magazines like the German Luger and the Borchardt Mauser. The .22 caliber short was developed for personal protection and carried as a weapon by soldiers. In A, you have one expended brass shell case of a .32 caliber cartridge for a long rifle. The head stamp U.S. is the U.S. Cartridge Company, again, that operated 1866 to 1918, Lowell, Massachusetts. Probable date of manufacture is 1875 to 1918. The .32 caliber long rifle rimfire cartridge was introduced in 1875 in a variety of light frame single shot rifles for shooting small game. Some of these were constructed so that both the rim and the center fire ammunition could be used by changing the firing pin or hammer. And in B, you have one expended brass shell case again of a .32 caliber cartridge, this time for a Smith & Wesson 5 or 6 shot revolver. Diameter of the head stamp is 9.5 millimeters, diameter of shell case 8.5 millimeters, and thickness of shell case 0.5 millimeters. The head stamp UMC/32 S&W is the Union Metallic Cartridge Company that operated 1867 to 1912 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The manufacture date 1878 to 1912 for this head stamp. In A, you have one expended brass shell case of a .32 caliber cartridge for a Smith & Wesson 5 or 6 shot revolver. Diameter head stamp is 9.5 millimeters, diameter of shell case 8.5 millimeters, and thickness of shell case 0.5 millimeters. The head stamp WRACO/.32 S&W is the Winchester Repeating Arms Company that operated 1866 to 1931 in New Haven, Connecticut. The manufacture date of this head stamp is 1866 to 1910. And in B, you have 3 expended brass shell cases of a .22 caliber long rimfire cartridges for a pistol or rifle. From left to right, the lengths are 15.5 millimeters, 15.5 millimeters, and 15.6 millimeters. Head stamp H, again, is the Winchester Repeating Arms rimfires that operated 1866 to 1931 New Haven, Connecticut. Manufacture date of the head stamp is 1866 to 1931. Rimfire cartridges were used both in military and sporting rifles, revolvers, and carbines. Rimfire cartridges differ from centerfire cartridges in that the priming compound is contained in the rim and ignition is obtained by pinching or indenting the rim under the firing pin below. And in C, you have one round, undecorated, handmade common clay marble, painted or dyed red. Diameter is 14.2 millimeters. A child's toy for playing a game of marbles. The place of manufacture was Germany, Great Britain, and the United States. This marble was probably manufactured in Ohio. Manufacture date 1675 to 1940. Popularity date 1890 to 1935. Most of the children's toy marbles found on 19th century archaeological sites were imported from Germany. Marbles were made from clay, stone, ceramics, glass, alabaster, and limestone. Common low-fired earthenware marbles called commies are found on colonial American sites and were manufactured as late as 1920. The earliest American manufacture of clay marbles for which there are historical records was the Frazee Pottery in Zanesville, Ohio. This pottery produced the locally famous and probably locally distributed Frazee's clays in 1818 and 1819. And in D, you have one rim and one body and one base sherd of a small unglazed coarse red earthenware flower pot. Rings on the interior indicate the vessel was hand thrown on a potter's wheel. Rim thickness 14.2 millimeters, body thickness 13.5 millimeters, and base thickness 14.1 millimeters. Probably made locally in the U.S. The manufacturer's date 1700 to the present day. The probable date of manufacture during the Victorian period 1837 to 1901. In A, you have sample advertisements of dyed clay marbles in 1925 and 1926. B is one base sherd of glazed ironstone plate. The paste is semi-vitreous. The design or decoration is unknown. Exterior base has a partial black printed Royal Arms mark with partial inscription. The inscription translated from the French is "God in my right above imperial ironstone." Two possible related manufacturers of the plate are A. Burke Brothers and Seddon, Coleridge Works, Coleridge, Staffordshire Potteries, Great Britain, operated 1877 to 1886, and in B. Coxon and Seddon, Globe Works, Coleridge, Staffordshire Potteries, Great Britain, operated 1875 to 1877. In C, you have one rim sherd of a medium blue transfer printed saucer, part of a matching set of dishes. The other two sherds being a plate represented by a base sherd and a bowl represented by a body sherd. Rim thickness 4.5 millimeters. The ware type is stone china. The border or marley is a floral and geometric motif with the central design being floral. Pattern name is unidentified. Place of manufacture is probably the Staffordshire Pottery District of Great Britain. Manufacture date 1784 to 1859. The mean beginning and ending dates are 1817 to 1834. This lightweight glazed refined white earthenware, that is stone china, was first patented in 1813 by Charles Mason and marketed under various names like stone china and opaque china. In D, you have one base sherd of a red transfer printed plate, the interior left, the exterior right. Base thickness is 13.5 millimeters. The ware type is stone china. The partial mark on the base sherd is unidentified, as is the pattern name. The place of manufacture is probably the Staffordshire Pottery District of Great Britain. The manufacture date is 1818 to 1880. But the mean beginning and ending dates are 1829 to 1842. The 2014 excavations shifted to the front yard of the property east of the main entrance to the Burrell house, with mapping of the area using GPS transit and stadia rod system. Test units were 1 meter square, forming small trenches north-south and east-west of the front entrance to the house. The purpose of this testing was to find evidence of the original log house site that the Burrells lived in between 1818 and 1820. This structure was thought to have existed in the front yard. The investigations did not find evidence of a foundation, though tradition says the original log house was there. In A to C, you have general shots of the front yard excavation units, and in D, you have feature 14-01 of burned and broken red brick and ash layer on the floor of unit 254.5 north and 541.5 east at 33 centimeters below datum. E is west wall profile of the unit at 52 centimeters below datum. Feature 14-01 brick is probably the damaged brick of the Burrell house that caught fire in December 1842. The wall of the house was repaired and replaced with new brick. The brick in feature 14-01 and other units probably represents the fire-damaged house brick dumped or buried in the north yard by the Burrells. And in F, you have feature 14-01 rectangular brick with round spacer from unit, again, 254.5 north and 545.1 east at 33 centimeters below datum. G is a close-up of the round spacer brick from that unit. H is a broken red brick on the floor of Unit 253 North and 540-543 East at 29 to 42 centimeters below datum. And in I, you have a close-up of feature at 253 North and 541 East at 29 centimeters below datum. In A, you have 3 fragments of a one-piece ball-shaped black glass called jet, a Victorian period button missing the shank. The button is black with floral, copper luster, or iridescent patina. No metrics recorded. The place of production is probably Great Britain. Popularity date 1861 to 1899. This is a woman's dress button. Composition 63% silica sand, 22% soda, and 15% limestone. These ingredients are heated together and stirred until the mixture is melted to a smooth paste. The color of black is added to the glass by the addition of a combination of metal oxides like copper, iron, and cobalt. In B, you have 1 rim sherd of an edged blue ceramic plate or platter. No metrics recorded. Unable to determine if the rim was scalloped, either symmetrical or non-symmetrical, due to the small size of the fragment. Ware type is either pearlware or stone china. Decoration is molded, shell-edged with short curved Mars, painted blue along the interior rim edge. The place of manufacture is probably Staffordshire Pottery District of Great Britain. The manufacture date 1780 to 1860. The popularity date 1800 to 1835. In C, you have 1 rim sherd of a dark blue transfer printed cup or saucer. Rim thickness 2.9 millimeters. Ware type is either pearlware or stone china. Unmarked. The vessel was printed on both exterior and interior sides. Decoration on the interior side on the border or marley is floral. The place of manufacture is probably the Staffordshire Pottery District in Great Britain. Manufacture date 1802 to 1846. The mean beginning and ending dates are 1819 to 1835. And in D, you have 16 sherds of at least 1 plate and 1 saucer of semi-vitreous white ironstone ceramics. There are 3 rim sherds, 7 body sherds, 3 brinks, and 3 bases with standing rings. Rim thickness ranges from 2.8 to 3.0 millimeters, and base thickness ranges from 4.7 to 5.0 millimeters. No decoration present. Place of manufacture either Great Britain or the U.S. The manufacture date is undetermined. The popularity date is 1850 to 1870. And in E, you have 1 small circular-shaped brass flat disc plain button with soldered circular-shaped omega-type wire loop shank. Diameter and thickness are 14.0 millimeters and 0.6 millimeters respectively. The button is cast metal with no mold seam. The back is lacquered with a black resin substance. The rim edge is depressed around the back to receive a crimped front, resulting in a thickened rim on the face. Place of manufacture is Great Britain or the U.S. Manufacture date is 1775 to 1850. This slide shows the selected references used for this presentation.